What's up? We are live on Being a Musician podcast. My name is Flint Blade, and with me today is Sweet Butter Joe.
How's it going, man?
Want to kick us off with a song?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that was nice.
All right, y'all. Sweet Butter Joe on the saxophone.
The first Sweet Butter Flint Blade collaboration.
That's right,
Right
man.
there.
Yeah.
We did it live.
Miracles happen every day. Thanks for being on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, man, of course. I'm honored to be included. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's been this is episode 4, and it's been like a very organic path so far because our last guest was Tommy Holla. You work with him
Yes.
very frequently
Yes, very frequently.
through time, and before that was Sandman Sleeps, who works with Tommy Holla.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Very
great, man.
natural progression.
Yeah, man. So that was fun seeing you play last night.
Yeah. Sweet Butter Thursdays at Public House
That's
in
right.
Fort Pierce.
Yeah, everybody check it out at Public House in Fort Pierce. You can see him.
It's been cool. You know, I haven't ever done a residency for my solo stuff other than open mic, which I don't really count because I only play like 2 songs there every week. So it's been interesting. You know, Thursday nights are sort of a night where you kind of sometimes need to work a little harder to get people out. So we're trying to build up the awareness and you know, have a place where people know where they can go and have a good time on Thursday nights. So
Yeah, well, it's a fun time, you guys.
they named a shot after me. It's called the Butter Blast.
Oh man, what's in it?
I believe butterscotch schnapps.
Okay.
I don't know what else, but it has like 3 different colored layers. It looks pretty cool. And then they put like pink sugar around the rim.
There you go, man.
It's the Butter Blast. I've never had a drink
butter.
named after me before, so it's kind of a big deal for me.
Well, man, I gotta say, Fort Pierce, I feel like it's got a lot of culture going on. You know,
More and more all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it really does. There's a lot of cool things happening.
and we just right before your show, we were all checking out the little things, just like two blocks down at Pierce
Yeah.
Cider.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can go out on a Thursday and see 2 different great acts in the same night, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good venues right in downtown Fort Pierce. There, you've got Sailfish, Public House, Pierce, Cobb's Landing. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but there's lots of places where there's music happening all the time.
Not to mention that even in COVID times, Florida's been one of the most open states to be at.
That's
But even to
definitely for
consider,
sure.
like, I think our season is still a little less than normal.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have as much going on is pretty incredible.
It's been it's been nice that we've all been able to get a lot of our gigs back. And,
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Amen.
playing every night this week except for tonight. So
Where else are you playing?
tomorrow I'm playing for the first time at a place called Banter down in West Palm. It's at the Canopy Hotel. It's a Hilton property.
All right.
So
Get a
they
sweet paycheck there.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's
All
not bad. I mean, these days, if I'm going to drive all the way down to West Palm, I usually, try to make sure that it's worth my time.
Yeah,
Because,
well-
I've got plenty of stuff close to home.
Yeah.
And years ago, it was more about, I didn't care about driving as much because I felt like there was more exposure down there. But now that I'm getting a little older and a little bit more domestic, I guess. More like
Fair enough.
I'd rather just play something that's close and convenient and not have to drive as far.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there's cool places. I love playing. There's Fern Street Wine Bar and Kitchen. I play there once a month down in West Palm. I really like it there. There's some cool places to play down there, but it's a drive from up in Fort Pierce. It's a little over an hour each way. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of times those hotel restaurant gigs can make it worth your while.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you're playing at a Hilton.
I mean, it's kind of funny how like this isn't always true, but a lot of times the gigs with the best paycheck are not the most like exciting like scene vibe thing.
Usually that's
true. But you do it and you make it worth it, and it's like you'd still rather be playing music than busting the tables.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I try to never take for granted what we're able to do? Well, COVID, I think, not to get too philosophical right away, but like, um, you know, I think for a lot of people, probably everybody, COVID really made you re-examine sort of the things that you took for granted.
For sure, man.
And
Yeah.
especially those of us that are in entertainment or people in the service industry or anything that was deemed non-essential, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're not I mean, we can argue about the essentialness of arts and music,
Right.
but to know that like something could happen and it could all go away like that.
It was clear that it could be taken away, at any time.
Yeah, and it
So
was it was a I think for everybody we really realized how much we had taken that for granted. So now that it is coming back, um, I do find myself being like, oh man, like I'm exhausted. I'm playing every night this week. And like, oh wait, I'm able to play every night this week again, and that's great.
Right.
I'm really happy about that. So it has put things in perspective in that regard.
I like to get myself a busy weekend when I can. I mean, I usually don't say no to any gigs, but like, I feel like when I have those crazy weekends that really wear me out, that kind of it almost justifies the times when like I have a stretch with no gigs.
Yeah, and you need that too because
Yeah.
everybody gets burnt out, even if you really enjoy what you're doing. I mean, I love playing music, I love performing, but you do it every night for a while, and it's like anything else; it gets exhausting. And I also do, I have two careers going on simultaneously. I also do real estate during the day, so it's like I work all day doing that, and then I go and play gigs, and it is still work. People think, oh, you're a musician, you love what you do, it must be super easy. But listen, driving, setup, tear down, sometimes you're playing in the blazing sun, and
Yep.
it's still a job. It's fun, but it is definitely, you got to give yourself some time to recuperate once in a while.
That's right.
I don't usually play every night of the week. This just sort of worked out that way this week, but yeah,
But
well, it's nice. It's nice to have some time once in a while to recharge.
so you're still playing pretty regularly even while you're working the real estate.
Yeah, well, the goal is, and it has already sort of borne out that I can be a bit more particular about what gigs that I take.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask for more money, and not be as worried. Like before, I had the real estate. I did feel like I had to take every gig that was offered, and at whatever price it was offered at. And I felt like I was more hesitant to negotiate because I didn't want to lose the gig. I'd rather get 150 as opposed to asking for 250 and not get even the 150. You know what I
Right,
mean? So,
right.
but now it's sort of I feel freed up to like be like, no, my minimum is this, and if I'm gonna have to drive that far, I'm gonna need this or whatever, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I don't need to feel like, oh shoot, I have to take whatever they're offering. So it has, I'm able to. There are a few gigs that I stopped doing because I didn't really enjoy them as much, or I didn't feel like it was worth the drive or whatever. And it has allowed me to be a bit more selective and particular about where I play, and what I'm investing my time in, because it is hard when I'm on the phone all day, I'm doing showings, I'm taking people out to see houses, and of course they're all getting off work right when I'm getting ready to go to my gig. So it always ends up that somebody's like, oh, I need this, or I want to see this, or can you, they want to talk, like right when I'm getting ready to. It's always right when I'm getting ready to leave to go to a gig.
Uh-huh.
So that's when it can get a bit overwhelming. But otherwise, the two jobs, the two things complement each other pretty well, because for the most part, the real estate stuff is designated to the day, and the music stuff is in the evening.
So these days you're playing mostly solo. I wanna just introduce everybody your background and stuff. You're playing mostly solo these days.
Mm-hmm.
What have you? What is your origin story, and how does it led to where you are now?
So,
in
all right,
music?
I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I've been doing music since I was very young. My first instrument was actually a guitar that my parents picked up for me from the flea market in town. My mom's side of the family is always very musical, grew up doing music in church and stuff like that. And so they all sang. None of them were like trained, but they were all just naturally very musical people. My mom played the piano and the drums, actually. She taught herself how to play the drums. So I sort of picked it up from her, did music in like band and a little bit of theater in high school. Went to school for music, actually, initially as a music performance major. And I honestly didn't really care for academic music. Didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I'm a performer.
How far did you go with
I went,
music
I think,
in school?
1 year, I think. It might have only been a semester as a music major.
At college?
Yeah, at college.
Okay.
But I was still in the jazz program. And
okay.
that was what I really wanted
Yeah.
to be part of.
Yeah.
And it was one of the top undergraduate jazz programs in the country at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. So really, really good jazz program. And that's really what I wanted to do. So I continued doing that. You didn't have to be a music major to be in the jazz program. But then, I didn't have to take 16th century music theory or, analysis of like these things that, not that it's not important, but it just, I wasn't passionate about. And it really made me enjoy music less, feeling like I was having to analyze, make it into an academic exercise.
Right.
So I still I switched to a history major, but I still I did the music as a minor, and I kind of still pretended like I was a music major. I was always in the music building.
Yeah.
All my friends were music majors. And I did the jazz program, was in the top jazz band for several years. And I learned a ton just from doing that, just from being in the program and working with the jazz professor. I mean, Robert Baca, he is a legend in jazz education. I learned so much from him without actually needing to be.
And where were we at?
University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Wisconsin, just outside of Green Bay. Go Packers. And so then after college, Eau Claire is very close to the Minnesota border and Minneapolis and St. Paul.
I want to say something about college, though.
Oh, please do.
Because I was thinking about like music school recently, and I considered Berkeley at one point because I kind of figured out like they kind of let most people in, but it's not so easy to get a scholarship, and it's very expensive.
It is very expensive.
So I didn't go.
Oh,
but I'm thinking like I was thinking recently about like one of the best things about being at a music school and surrounding yourself like you did in the jazz program is like you're going to be around all these other people who are playing a lot.
Yes.
And it's going to make you want to play a lot. And even just through osmosis a little bit, I think like there's a little bit of a psychic connection that it kind of just drives you to that mindset.
You immerse yourself into that culture, and everybody's in that same place. Everybody's trying to learn. And if you're in a good program, people are work together and help you out. I like that a lot about Eau Claire. We didn't have an extensive jazz faculty. It was just Robert Baca.
Yeah.
He was the head of the jazz studies, and that was it. So, he did a good job of working with each individual person as much as he could, but a lot of it was upperclassmen working with underclassmen, and it was a cooperative type of thing. So, yeah, you do you gain an energy from being in that environment. I would say a couple of things about music school on that subject. Berkeley is a great place because almost more so because of the connections that you make there, because so many of the faculty are still doing it. They are performing, and these are people that are performing with some of the biggest names in the country. A lot of times you go to music school and they're just professors. They went to school, they got their doctorate, and then they started teaching, A lot of people that I know of that went to Berkeley benefited greatly, not just from the education that they got, but from the connections that their professors had with people in the industry. And they introduced them to people. It's all about connections. Nobody cares if you have a degree in music. Can you play? Can't you play? Do you know what you're doing?
Case in point, like you might not have studied your 16th your music history class or 4th theory class or whatever, but
do you know how many times I've been asked about that when getting a gig? Never.
And but the way
cares.
But you play with great chops because you were from this culture of great great playing.
And that's really what it is. And the other thing about music school, because you mentioned getting a scholarship, is it is really hard if you don't have a scholarship to justify spending that much money, because Berkeley is incredibly expensive, and most music schools are. It's hard to justify spending that much money on a career that, to be perfectly honest and very, transparent, it's hard to make a lot of money,
Right.
at least for a while, just doing music. And, you can make a living, but being able to pay off $40,000, $60,000, in student loans on a musician's salary, it's just, I'm not saying, music school is bad. I'm just saying that, it is hard to justify unless you are on scholarship and it is free or very cheap.
Right.
I mean,
or if you got rich parents.
yeah. But it, going to a place where the professors are very well connected is huge.
Yeah.
It is huge because I didn't really have that. So I didn't really come out of school with a lot of great connections necessarily in the music industry. So I kind of had to start from the bottom. But I know a lot of people who have gone to Berkeley, they've come out and immediately, they've had some really nice connections with people who are really, doing it. And it's been an easier transition. But, who knows how long they're going to be paying off their loans.
Yeah.
Student debt is a whole nother subject that we don't need to get into.
Of course. But,
Cancel student loans.
Maybe Bernie will swoop in and save the day and cancel all the student loans one day.
One can only dream.
So back to you after college.
Yes. Okay. So after college, I lived in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, played with some bands around there, and I actually worked a desk job for a while because I was like, well, I need to pay the bills. I mean, I was playing a lot, but I was in bands where they were more like, projects. We were getting started. So there wasn't like a lot of money in them right at the beginning. And especially when you're in a band with several people, it's hard to get paid enough where everybody gets a decent enough chunk. And when you're starting out and really, like as a band, you're really trying to make a band work, it costs a lot of money to record and promote and all that stuff. So a lot of the money was going back into the band. So I had a day job working on a phone. And I've never liked winter very much.
Oh, yeah.
And the last winter I lived in Minneapolis, it was below zero for 50 days in a row. And I'm like, this is awful. A friend of mine introduced me to a man by the name of Alex Meixner, who is a world-renowned polka musician.
Yep, and that's
on
Tommy
accordion.
Holla's drummer as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy plays drums
Yes,
for Alex.
which is how I met Tom. So,
Right, okay. Cool.
So another friend of mine who's also a drummer that I went to high school with introduced me to Alex. He was traveling all over the country playing Oktoberfests and all sorts of different things. It was this whole polka subculture that I didn't even know existed. So I connected with him. He needed somebody to like sub for some of his Wisconsin, Minnesota gigs. So I played a couple of those. And I was just talking to him on one of those trips about, how I was kind of looking to do something different. I was tired of my job. I was tired of winter. I kind of wanted to move. And at the time, he lived in Palm City. And he's like, why don't you move down, live at my place? You can help me out, sort of be my assistant. Be in the band full time, travel around,
So Alex
let's
was
do
living
it.
in Florida at the time?
Alex was living in Florida. He now lives in Stewart. But so I'm like, yeah, why not? I was at the point in my life where there was nothing really tying me to Minnesota at that point. I did have to, I was still in a couple of bands, and it was difficult to decide to leave that. But I knew I wanted something different.
Uh-huh.
And I'd always wanted to tour. I'd always wanted to travel. And I did that, with the polka band of all things, playing all sorts of different festivals, wearing lederhosen for the first time, which are very, very sexy, classy, traditional German leather pants. And to sort of discover this whole culture of not just polka music, but like traditional ethnic music in America. I didn't grow up with a lot of like ties to my like ethnic heritage, German, Norwegian, whatever. We didn't have a lot of that. But there's a lot of people that grow up with a lot of those like traditional traditions, dances and songs and festivals and stuff like that. And we played at a lot of those. German, Slovenian, Czech, Polish, all sorts of these sort of European cultures had variations of polka music. So we played all these different things, and it was a very rewarding experience. I did get to travel a lot and spent lots of nights on the road, and it was what I had always wanted to do, and it was great. After a while, I decided I didn't want to keep doing that so much.
Traveling
as much, and honestly playing it. Polka's not like my favorite kind of music.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I did want to do more of like what I really wanted to, what I was more passionate about. So I sort of settled down more local. I played a lot of gigs with Ryan Owens and Xander James, and I was in a band with Deal James and Tom and those guys.
Jedi Magic
Carousel. So I was playing with a lot of other people, and then Deal moved away, and Ryan moved away, and then Xander decided he was going to move away. And
that's
then,
how you started playing solo.
Yeah, I kind of realized, like, I can't keep relying on other people to book my gigs for me.
Right.
And, I play the saxophone. It's hard to do a solo saxophone show without just playing with background tracks, and I find that...
Or without wearing a Sasquatch costume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or being like the sexy sax man with the long wig and just go around playing Careless Whisper. So I had to kind of invent sort of my own solo saxophone show using the loop pedal and effects and all this stuff. Looping isn't a new concept, but doing it on an instrument that only plays one note at a time, it takes time to construct the loop and put it together. And so I really just like dove into it, and I put this pedal board together and figured out like what kind of effects I needed, what equipment I needed, and a lot of trial and error, a lot of Guitar Center and Sweetwater orders, but that's been really cool and really rewarding, and I have created something, so it feels really good. And I am able to control my own schedule.
That's a beautiful thing, man.
I said I'd keep it brief, and I really didn't, but that's sort of how we ended up where we are now.
We got time, dude.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of gigs and a lot of opportunities for music in this area. They're not all like high exposure, right kind of things.
But
you're playing
Florida's it's got tons of treasure scattered around.
When you live in a place that people come to vacation, there's a lot of opportunities in the entertainment and service industries.
Yep.
So, a lot of times I may be playing for somebody eating their mahi sandwich, but it's a gig. There's a lot of places that have live music, which is great.
I've heard people from Key West musicians say it's low hanging fruit there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many bars in the same town.
Mm-hmm.
You can gig 7 times in a day practically.
Well, unfortunately, places are willing to pay for music. Mm-hmm. They're not forking over the big bucks, but they're at least paying a decent amount that allows you to make a living.
At the same time, as a musician, as an original musician, I noticed that playing so many restaurant gigs, sometimes it's like easy to default on that and forget about like aspiring, like climbing the ladder of like putting out your original message and like kind of
growing your own brand.
Playing that game. And that's why I've really been trying to like just get involved in more scene shows where there's other original acts.
Yeah,
and
great.
setting up some of them myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if I'm not always making as much money because there's so many bands, it's like we're building a scene and a community, and that's rewarding in its own.
Well, it's the same thing I was saying when you're building a band. It's the same thing. Even if you're a solo artist, to build your brand or your band, you know, you do need to invest a lot of energy into it without seeing necessarily a lot of reward always right away.
Right.
So you need to take gigs that are more about exposure or networking or things like that. You know,
And sometimes it also just comes down to be like, you know, is this experience of performing this like fulfilling to myself?
exactly. And sometimes, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not always all about the money.
Right.
You know, it is our career, so you want to get compensated for it whenever possible. But it is also something, you know, it's a passion. And sometimes there are just opportunities that are like, this is really rewarding and really cool, and I really want to do this.
And if you get those ones where you're not getting paid and it's also not fulfilling, then you know that's when you can
Those are the ones to cut out.
you
Yeah.
know, cross that one off the list.
I've been fortunate recently to just like a gig that I got recently playing down at Rosemary Square in West Palm Beach has actually been kind of a nice combination of being enjoyable and rewarding and also very profitable.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like much. You're sitting in this, you know, outdoor plaza.
Is that the one that I came with Tom that one time in West Palm?
No, that's Fern Street.
Oh yeah.
That was Fern Street.
Okay.
This is right. It's in City Place. It's this open like courtyard area. It's like an outdoor mall.
Outdoor gigs are often like the nicest ones.
Yeah, well, unless it rains, but
Yeah, right. But if the weather's great, the outdoor scene is like such a magical vibe. It's like,
and this is under this big fiber optic light up neon tree, this artificial tree that lights up all different colors. But the coolest thing about it is it feels more like a performance. People aren't eating their dinner or whatever. What's great is it's a constantly recycling audience. Sorry, I'm getting too far away from the microphone. So there's all, you know, over the course of a 3-hour gig, I might play for 1,000 people. And they're just, you know, the people that like it stick around. The people that aren't digging it, they just move on. You know, it's not like when you play at a restaurant, you play for the same, the turnover is a lot less.
Yeah, yeah.
So one thing that helps out a lot with is the tips.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
when there's so many people coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I find it enjoyable because it is more of a performance, and people are dancing, and you know, little kids are running around and stuff like that, and I like the vibe. But then it pays well just to begin with, and then the tips are really nice too. So every once in a while, you get those gems that are just kind of the perfect combination.
You
of
get the
all of
sweet
above.
spot.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Those are the gigs that we're looking for.
Yep.
So
Well, how about if we move into another song? You
Yeah.
want to play an original this time?
I'm gonna do an original. Let's do it.
All right.
This is called Official.
We don't have to put a label on it. We may not be official, but that's just superficial, yeah. And whatever it is we call it, can't deny it's something special, even though we're not official. Safe to say it's unconventional, but we started unintentional. To qualify it, I was hesitant. Never meant it to be permanent. But logic is useless, no point in excuses. I've tried to refute this, but baby, we both know the truth is that we don't have to put a label on it. We may not be official, but that's just superficial, yeah. Whatever it is we call it, I can't deny it's something special, even though we're not official, babe. We say we're not exclusive, but the truth is more elusive. Meant to keep my options open, best to leave those words unspoken. But logic is useless, no point in excuses. I've tried to refute this, but baby, we both know the truth is we don't have to put a label on it. We may not be official, but that's just superficial, yeah. Whatever it is we call it, I can't deny it's something special, even though we're not official, babe. You know me, I made a list of all the reasons we couldn't coexist. All the pressures formed by societal norms, expectations to which we didn't conform. But I was just scared, unprepared for the unanticipated chemistry that we shared. Didn't realize what I wanted. Now your absence leaves me haunted. We don't have to put a label on it. We may not be official, but that's just superficial, yeah. Whatever it is we call it, I can't deny it's something special, even though we're not official, babe. We don't have to put a label on it. We may not be official, but that's just superficial, yeah. Whatever it is we call it, I can't deny it's something special, even though we're not official, babe. We don't have to put a label on it. We don't have to put a label on it. May not be official, but that's just superficial, baby. Whatever it is we call it, whatever it is, something special, even though we're not official, babe.
What was that called?
That's called Official.
All right.
One of my two original songs that I perform.
Okay. Is that out online?
No, it's hard to. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this in a recorded format. You know, because it is much more of a performance thing with the building the loop, and I definitely can't have an album full of like 7-minute tracks where the first 2.5 minutes is just me building a loop. So
nobody says you can't do that.
I feel like modern day attention spans sort of say I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think it's just. I mean, you're right. I shouldn't just rule things out without trying it, but
You're saying that maybe you would lean towards doing like a different arrangement, maybe without looping per
yeah,
se.
I don't know. That's why I haven't done it yet because I don't really know the best way to do it. Now, what I should do and what I've been meaning to do and haven't done is do a video of it like a professional.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was going to actually.
Well, you just did it, Ram.
Well, there you go. I mean,
I was geeking out on the camera angles over here. It
Yeah.
was looking good in the DSLR.
might have to put that together and throw it on YouTube.
Yes.
So I think videos are honestly a better way to go for me. I was gonna do a video at Raincat Studios. They like a live video and audio recording last March, and then COVID happened.
Right.
So,
Okay.
just haven't gotten around to
Yeah.
rescheduling that, but.
Cool.
But yeah, I think at least for now, I don't have anything recorded. It's not like on Spotify or iTunes or whatever. But I think YouTube's probably going to be my good friend in this case. So
Yeah. I've been feeling like generally YouTube is my best bet to push.
mhm.
I don't have that many subscribers. I have like 300 something, but hey,
That's not
it's
bad.
better than none.
No, it really is.
And
It
that's-
took me a long time to get to 100.
Right. That's more than I have on like Spotify.
Sure.
And I have more likes and stuff on Facebook, but it's not exactly the same.
People are moving away from Facebook. I think
I hope so, man, because
it's just
good
not
riddance.
it's not that user friendly anymore. Not that it ever really was, but especially when it comes to promoting yourself as a musician.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I don't think they were ever ideal for promoting music. The
Mhm.
pages have always been pretty much like worthless
Yeah.
unless you're trying to pay them a lot of money. That's what it seems
That's
like.
true.
The pages get lost
Yep.
in the shuffle unless you give them money.
Mhm.
And I don't really want to give Facebook money.
And I don't like how their algorithms work, where they only show a certain amount of your followers what you actually post. And
Right.
Instagram's doing something weird now too. I don't know.
I
But
s-
we work with what we're given.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I still appreciate just like the notion of social media. Like it's easy to forget that like it's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
You know, that we can connect to everybody in the world.
the reach that is possible
Yeah.
now.
All that is pretty great. And
Yeah.
even just without promotion mind, like just as a thing that you can connect with people and
Mhm.
family and everything.
It is still better than what was available 20 years ago.
Right. But man, I still kind of miss the grand days of MySpace.
I don't think I ever had a MySpace page.
Well, I think when MySpace was happening, it was great for music. It was like a great little EPK, way better than a Facebook page.
Mm.
The music, you could have your 3 or 5 songs like right at the front
Mm-hmm.
of your MySpace page. It's like right there. People click on it on the page. Good luck finding any music.
I feel like that there's a niche for something like that to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Something more like music centric.
Yeah.
Like
And-
not so, like more of a marriage between social media and
Mhm.
like
Well,
Spotify.
MySpace is back, kind of, but like,
Is it really?
it's just like, who cares? It's
Yeah.
not. It's not really. It's not really where it's at.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I love about SoundCloud as a platform.
no. Okay.
I listen to SoundCloud more than Spotify.
Oh yeah.
Even though it doesn't. It's just a kind of a different environment,
Mm-hmm.
and it does bring some of that social elements in, which I love, and I still think they could take it further.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that SoundCloud sticks around for what it is.
That's interesting. I have like a SoundCloud account, but it's not something I've ever really used. So
Uh-huh.
it's good to know that like people are actually.
I'm
using
a
it.
huge fan.
That's cool.
And I feel like I'm kind of like how maybe just it's the same way Apple users are like huge fans, but they're in the minority of overall computer users. That's how I
Gotcha.
feel about SoundCloud. I love
Mhm.
it, and I'm probably one of the only people that loves it as much as I do.
Well, I mean, there's obviously other people out there. Otherwise, it wouldn't still be.
But the cool thing about it is, there's descriptions. You can put a description for your song,
Mhm.
put whatever you want in the description,
That's
put
nice.
information about your song right in the description. You can't do that on Spotify. You can do reposting and more sharing and stuff and liking
Okay.
in those kind of social media ways.
Nice. That's
Yes.
cool. I'll have to check that out more because
And I
you
think
know.
what it really shines for is these DJ mixes. I always get the greatest DJ mixes on
Oh, yeah.
SoundCloud because people upload these hour-long mixes, and it's not like this algorithmic suggestion box.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like somebody sharing music that they love in a seamless way.
That's cool.
That's really nice to listen to.
Take the algorithms out of everything.
Yeah. Yep. So DJs are just thriving on SoundCloud
That's cool.
and electronic music too.
All right. Well, that fits pretty well with what you do as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how's home life?
Home life is good. I'm getting married soon.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations,
thank
man.
you,
Yeah,
thank
to
you.
you and your fiance.
It's interesting. Maybe this segues into the next song I'm going to play too. I don't know how you want to format it, but the last song that I'm going to do is called Dream Girl, and I wrote it for my fiance, Anshani.
All right.
And it's been awesome because as I got into my 30s, started inching into the 30s, and I was single and had been single for most of my life. I was starting to wonder, like, is all this true love stuff, bullshit? I was like, am I really gonna ever find my person, ever find the person that is my soulmate, or somebody that I can see myself spending the rest of my life with, or is this just something that's in movies and some people get lucky, but just, isn't a real thing. And then it happened, and it kind of was unexpected, but it's been incredible. And that's the song that I'll do in a bit is called Dream Girl, because it was like, she's exactly what I was looking for and waiting for and starting to think didn't exist.
That's beautiful,
But
man. Ladies, he's taken.
taken. Sorry. But it's been amazing. And we've had to deal with some craziness in the world in the time that we've been together.
That'll put you to the test, man.
Yeah,
and quarantine.
We've definitely, I think we have weathered a lot of external things, not just world events, but personal things with work and stuff. I don't need to go into too much detail, but we've been through a lot of trials as people, not necessarily in our relationship, but just personal struggles together. And we've weathered those very well. And I think, if we can come out strong in the first couple years that we're together, I think the rest is going to be kind of, I don't want to jinx anything, but, I feel like we've got a really solid foundation. So I'm excited to get married. I've always wanted that in my life. So COVID has had, its impact on the timing of the wedding and the scope.
But you have it.
We have
scheduled?
it planned. I'm not going to announce the exact date yet because
Okay.
I haven't actually told everybody in my
Okay.
family about it yet. I don't know how many of them are going to watch, but it's going to be a very scaled down, very small. I'm not even sure whether or not my parents are going to be able to come.
Oh.
It depends on, and my sister. It depends on whether they are able to get vaccinated in time or not.
I see.
But we just decided that we weren't comfortable having the whole big extended family wedding during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea when it's going to be safe again. And we've been engaged for a year and a half and didn't want to keep waiting to get married. And
well, ultimately, it's about, the two of you.
it really
It's between
is.
you.
And a lot of times weddings end up being so much more about everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love a nice wedding. But
it is a gathering,
And it's a lot to put into one day. It's a lot of pressure, first of all.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong, after all the buildup and all the money and everything, something goes wrong, it's like a disaster,
Right.
And, there's always something. Something always doesn't go according to plan. And they're crazy expensive.
And the
a lot.
musicians are part of that cost.
Yeah, and as soon as as we hear the word wedding,
You're
that
like,
price
"Oh,
goes up.
twice. It's my
at
twice
least-
my minimum."
Exactly. So I'm happy. Obviously, I envisioned getting married with my whole extended family, and I do have a large extended family. But at the end of the day, it's really, like you said, it's about us. We're gonna be just as married one way or the other. We can really,
And there's still time to have, more gatherings in the future.
exactly. Once it is safe, once we're comfortable, then we'll have a big party. Probably up in Wisconsin or, where most of my family is.
Yeah.
Um,
That's most of the weddings that I hear about. They're like, all right, we're going to do this kind of small thing, and then later on we're going to throw a big party.
maybe an anniversary thing, in the next year or two. I mean, who knows? Who knows when it's going to be safe to, or, relatively safe to gather in large numbers again. So I'm excited that we finally, like, we have everything is pretty much planned. We have the dress and the rings, and we ordered my suit, and we have the venue and the flowers.
You going to have any music for the ceremony?
It's just going to be Xander. Xander's going to play a song as we come in and as we go out.
Very nice.
So,
Very nice.
He actually, this is super corny, but he does a rendition of Bob Marley's "Is This Love?"
Oh, all right, man.
And Anshani and I were watching him. We were at one of his gigs, and he was playing that song. And that was the first time I told her I loved her, was during that song. So we always knew we wanted him to play that song at our wedding. So he's going to play that, and then he's going to do another song.
Is that the ceremony?
Yeah, it's just this.
Right.
I mean, there's not really a reception per se. There's going to be a dinner, but, he's going to play a song as she walks in. He's going to play a song as we walk out, and that's really it. I mean, we're keeping it very simple.
Very beautiful.
But yeah, simple, but we're able to put a lot more of attention into the details.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've played a few weddings myself. I do
yeah.
a good wedding march. So if anybody out there is, planning your ceremony.
No, that's Pomp and Circumstance. Never mind.
Ba, bum, ba, ba,
That's the wedding march.
All dressed in white.
Yeah.
Have you played some weddings?
I've never played the wedding march,
Okay.
but I've played a handful of weddings. I just did one recently, actually, in West Palm, which was, the first one that I had done since COVID. But
I think the last wedding that I've done, I remember, when I suggested the wedding march, they were like, "Oh no, we're trying to stay away from anything traditional. We want it to be like really hip and cool and then like once the time came for them to decide on like the songs, I played my wedding march
The
for
way
them.
you
They're
do it,
like
yeah.
they were like, let's do that. Yeah.
well, it's nice. You offer a traditional song in a less than traditional format.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't cheese it up. I just make it really vibey.
Yeah. Do you like bebop?
Oh no, I
beatbox with it, too?
haven't beatboxed
No.
with it, but oh man.
There are ways to update some of the more classic traditions to make them more, culturally relevant.
Of course.
That's what we do as musicians. We're constantly trying to remain culturally relevant.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cultural relevance, something that I was thinking about earlier is just that I've been I've made a point to like keep listening to new music, as a musician.
Yeah.
I've heard like I noticed like the character of like this old guy who's like plays some good stuff, and he doesn't like anything that's more than or less than 20 years old or something like that, and
I hate that. Yeah.
so I always keep my ears out, and I think part of just the love of music is loving music that's not necessarily what I play.
Oh yeah, I mean the best musicians always have a very wide range of tastes.
Mm-hmm. And now that I learned Tadow with you, I think that's probably my most modern. That's my most contemporary tune that I probably know now.
Really?
In the repertoire.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, Um, well, kind of with what I do, I mostly do covers and stuff like that, and it's hard like learning covers that are like really new because you don't know like what their staying power is going to be.
Yeah.
You know that some of these older tunes have been popular for years and are probably going to remain popular. Even things that aren't super old, but say like an Uptown Funk or something like that. Like that's a tune that is newer, but is going to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
But then something that just came out that's on the radio, and you're like, all right, well this is huge now. Maybe it's number one right now, but is it going to be in a couple months or not?
And it's kind of cool that like something like Tadow, that's not even on the radio.
Well, that's
Is it?
I don't think so.
Unless it's some college radio somewhere, maybe NPR once in a while, but
The nice thing about that is it's more of a vibe.
yeah.
And there's no lyrics. Well, there is in the original, but not the way that I do. I do it instrumental. So I feel like instrumental arrangements have more staying power.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
'Cause-
Take 5.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
any kind of, it's just, you don't have to worry about lyrics becoming dated or anything
Right.
like that.
And it's just the power of the internet. Now there's actually people who can get millions of views and things without even being on the radio
Yeah.
or cable TV.
The music industry has changed so much.
Honestly, the internet is cooler than TV or the radio to me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
overall,
it
it's
has
encompassed it.
It
yeah.
has become TV and radio.
Right.
Everything is now
Anything on TV is
online.
going to be on the internet too.
TV has become YouTube and Netflix. Radio has become podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Even like NPR and stuff like that, they're doing podcasts and stuff. I mean, I love NPR, but I'd rather just hit a podcast and know I'm going to catch it at the beginning, be able to stop it, start it. So everything is sort of morphed into that.
But I still love independent radio.
Mhm.
Anytime I listen to a good college radio program, that's just like something fresh, different.
That's cool.
Something that kind of sneaks around the curve.
Nice. I did college radio very briefly.
Yeah.
I had a show called Jazz, Blues, and Beyond.
It was your show?
I adopted it from somebody else.
Cool.
I did it for about,
Cool.
I think, like a semester or so.
Cool.
Put a lot of work into it, but it ended up becoming like this all like consuming thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have the time for this. I'm
Yes.
trying to do, my history major and also pretend to be a music major.
You have
So,
to really love it.
yeah, it is a passion project. So
Well, you want to wrap it up maybe with
sure,
your
the red
third
light on
song?
the GoPro is still blinking.
Oh
so.
yeah, we're still going.
Yeah, I could do the last one. The one that I already sort of prefaced it.
Your song for
Called-
your lady.
Dream Girl. Her name is Anshani, and I still have to figure out a way to like work that into a song at some point, work her actual name into the song.
Aunt Shawnee, this one's for you.
Anshani.
looking, searching high and low. Thought that I might have to settle and down a little. You'll wind up so low, then you came. It feels like forever and only a day. I went from skeptic to believer, a cynic to a dreamer. The only way to explain is that you're my dream girl, baby. Better than I could make up. I don't wanna wake up unless I see you lying next to me. Don't have to close my eyes to see this is reality. Finally lucid, all my visions being realized. Everything that I once dreamed of. So this is true love. Two lives revive, words cannot say. You compliment me in every way. It's a fantasy come true. A million reasons to love you, and a million still to reveal. 'Cause you're my dream girl, baby. Better than I could make up. Don't wanna wake up unless I see you lying next to me. Don't have to close my eyes to see this is reality. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. You're my dream girl, baby. Better than I could make up. I don't wanna wake up unless I see you lying next to me. Don't have to close my eyes to see this is reality. You're my dream girl, baby. Better than I could make up. Don't wanna wake up unless I see you lying next to me. Don't have to close my eyes to see this is reality. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream.
All right. Sweet Butter Joe, everybody. Dream Girl.
Thanks, man.
Well, thanks again for being on the podcast,
It was
man.
absolutely a pleasure. I enjoyed chatting. I always like talking.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you tell us where to find your music online?
So, the best way to find me online is
You got some
probably
social?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Sweet Butter Joe. That's really where most of it is on Instagram and YouTube. I got to get some more videos up there, but that's where you can find me, Sweet Butter Joe, and Gotta make some new videos soon.
All right, and we'll see you every Thursday at Public House.
Every Thursday, Public House. Every Monday night at Vine and Barley Stewart, we do open mic from 7 to 10. That's open to anybody, everybody, and anybody who has an instrument and wants to come and do something. So sign up is at 6:30. We do that 7 to 10 every Monday night at Vine and Barley. Every Thursday night at Public House, and then I'm all over the place during the week, so I usually try to post my schedule on Instagram and Facebook. So
All right, Sweet Butter Joe, thanks again, man.
thank you, buddy.